Have you been wondering if you can make a gorgeous Deco Mesh wreath using the 21-inch Deco Mesh? Oh yes, you can! Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today I prepared 7 videos with 21-inch Deco Mesh bases only. That means I did not include the decor. If you would like to see full version of the videos, that will be in the description box in case you wanted to see how I made the bow, attached the sign, or made the ribbon bundles. As far as the order of the video, I arranged them from what I consider to be the easiest to the more complicated wreaths. Now, let's get started with the easiest 21-inch Deco Mesh wreath base. For today's wreath, I'm starting with a 21-inch Deco Mesh, and this one is 10 yards long. I like to call this peacock color because it's green and blue and this kind of aqua color in between. It does have some foil, as you can see, shimmering in between. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a bubble method. We are also going to use a 14-inch metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this little measuring mat that's also from the Dollar Tree, and some pipe cleaners. These really don't matter what they are because they are going to be quite hidden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these and I'm just going to cut the pipe cleaners in half. To get started, you need space to work, and so we need to move this little kitty. When I do a bubble wreath or that poof method where you're going in a spiral, I like to start and end with a zip tie to make sure that my wreath is secure. I'm going to start by going in 1.5 to 2 inches and gather. The background that I'm using right now is silicone, so on silicone this doesn't really move too much, so I have to put it on something. After I gather, I always look through my little tail to make sure I pull out anything that is kind of a little bit too far going towards the inside. And then I'm going to start by pushing my Deco Mesh in, and I'm going to connect it on this little intersection. I'm going to show you in just a second here. I'm going to take this in the back to make sure that this part is in the back so it's not in our way. A few things before we begin. As you can see, when I started my Deco Mesh here, it is unrolling this way in a little wave. That's because when I'm making my poofs or my bubbles, it's just going to bubble up naturally, just like the mesh is supposed to be. As far as how big you want your bubbles, they can be anywhere from 6 to 10 inches. I usually go for 8 inches, and I have 8 inches right here. And this time I'm going to be using row 2. You can definitely use row 3 if you want a little bit of a bigger wreath. I want to use row 2 because I want a lot of this bubble to kind of fill up the center a little more. So I'm bringing in my pipe cleaner, 2 twists, bring it back. In the back, I'm going to do 2 more twists. Then I'm going to fold in half and fold back. And that's it. I'm going to be making 7 bubbles per section. Today is one of those days that I am fighting with this cat for the table. So I'm done with my one section right here. And Leah, would you please go out of the wreath? Thank you. Sorry about that, you guys. And so I'm going to open it just so you see what it looks like, because usually I open it when I'm all done with all the bubbles, and not everyone actually opens their bubbles up, but I like a softer look. So I'm going to open my bubbles up all the way. As you can see how soft this side is comparing to the, that boldness of the bubbles. If you are a beginner, and I know I have a lot of beginners watching this channel, this is such an easy wreath for you to do. And if you're a Dollar Tree shopper and only buy a Dollar Tree, all you have to do is just layer these. I'll give you an example. I'll add a video in the description box that has a Dollar Tree version of the bubble method that I do. And it is very simple. As you saw, all I do is make little bubbles and then you open them up. except with the Dollar Tree Deco Mesh, you have to be very careful when you open them up. The 21-inch does make a much softer bubble wreath. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing the same thing over in the rest of the 5 sections. And as you can see, whether you're a beginner or you're not a beginner, this is a great method, easy and absolutely beautiful. I already did my last loop right here, and I want to show you how I'm going to kind of complete the loop. I'm going to cut off a tail that's about 2 inches long, and I'm going to send it to the back. Now we have the beginning and the end. I'm going to just overlap them, grab a zip tie. I'm just going to crisscross them just like that. Grab my zip tie and just tie it off. And of course, on the last loop, there is a pipe cleaner. And then this is just what was left over. I'm just basically making things kind of cleaner and putting them away. And I'm just going to kind of tuck the tails just like that, so it's nice and neat. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to send this back a little bit so it's just hidden and it doesn't scratch anything. And now we are ready with our wreath form. Going to be using this Deco Mesh from Joann's, and this one is 21 inches by 18 feet. I'm going to go over really quickly how I put the pipe cleaners on my wreath form, and this is a process that used to scare me when I saw these wreaths with all of these pipe cleaners sticking out. It was so overwhelming, but in reality it's not. So we have a wreath form from the Dollar Tree. It has 6 sections. In each section we're going to put 3 pipe cleaners, which is going to give us a total of 18 pipe cleaners. First pipe cleaner you can put either on the first row, or I kind of started doing it on the first 2 rows. So I'm just going to put it straight in the middle of the first 2 rows, just like that. And I'm going to face this one inside. This is just basically easier when we're working to find our pipe cleaners because you have all this mesh on top. And then the other 2 are going to go to the side of the center one on rows 3 and 4. And that's it. So just think of this as one section at a time, and we only have 3 per section, 1 on row 1 and 2 going inside, and then 2 pipe cleaners going on row 2 and 3 to the side of our center one. And then we are just going to continue doing this all the way around until all the sections are filled, and I will be right back when I'm done with all of these. And this is what your wreath is going to look like when it's all done. Before I bring my mesh in, let me just explain how this is going to work. I call this method a spiral method because whether you're working from outside in or inside out, it's still going to be the same thing. So what we're going to do is work on our first row from the inside right here. So if I'm starting right here, I'm going to go all the way around and make 10-inch loops going all the way around, then come back to this spot and then complete my little loop. And then I'm going to go on this next section, not on the next pipe cleaner, because 10 inches from here and here is just a little bit too much. So we're going to go to the next section, to the pipe cleaner there. And from here, we are going to start making 10-inch loops going all the way around. And then we're just going to cut the Deco Mesh off and zip tie it in place. And we're also going to zip tie when we begin. Let's grab our beautiful Deco Mesh. And I'm going about 2 inches in and just collecting that tail. And here I'm just going to go around, make sure that I have everything over here, because sometimes when you bring it together, it kind of goes in waves. So you do want to make sure that you collect that whole first row right at those 2 inches, I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to put it on one of my inside pipe cleaners. Give it 2 tight twists to make sure it's nice and secure. Then I'm going to grab a zip tie and I'm going to zip tie it to the second row right here. The first row is going to be against the wall, so I don't want any zip tie to maybe scratch the wall. So that's why I'm going up a little bit, because that second row is higher than our first row. And I'm just going to zip tie it in place about an inch from where we have our pipe cleaner. This is going to just straighten out our tail, and I just zip tied it as tight as I can and cut that tail off. This tail right here is going to get covered by the loop that's going to go from this pipe cleaner to this pipe cleaner, and then we're also going to have decor or ribbon on each section, so don't worry about this. It's going to get covered up nicely. I'm so in love with this beautiful ribbon from Joann's. Okay, I usually use 10-inch loops for this method, and 10 inches on my board is right here, this light square. So I'm going to put the beginning of my pipe cleaner right at the beginning of my little square. Then I'm going to keep it nice and tight and go to the end right here. I got my 10 inches, and then I'm going to go up, and I'm making sure that everything bubbles up. I'm kind of doing everything right now so we don't have to worry about it later. And then we're going to go to the next pipe cleaner, tie it in, and give it 2 good twists so it's locked in place. And then I'm going to take my pipe cleaners and straighten them up. This way we can find them when we're actually attaching the ribbon. Next loop, 10 inches, same thing. I'm going to straighten it out right now. Because this is 21-inch Deco Mesh, I find it easier to make sure that everything's in place as we're going along. Same thing, nice and tight here, and 2 good twists, and we are good to go. Look at this. This is going to be such a beautiful and full wreath. Okay, I'm on my last loop in my first row right here, and I'm just going to, there you go, complete the loop, and then I'm going to go to the next section. I'm in this section right now, and I'm going to go to the next pipe cleaner, which is right there. So let me measure out my 10 inches, and I'm going to go right here. Look how full this wreath is right now, and that's just the first row. Now we're starting to work on our second row, and we're just going to continue to do the same thing. Make sure you keep your pipe cleaners going up so you can find them when we are all done, because as you can see, this is a very full and beautiful wreath. And I'm just going to go all the way around doing the same thing. And I'm coming to my last loop. Look how full and gorgeous this wreath is. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to measure off my last 10 inches. And because this Deco Mesh was only 18 feet, this is all I have left pretty much here. So let me just cut this off. Regular Deco Mesh rolls are 10 yards, and you pretty much need 5 yards for one of these wreaths. Let me lock it in. And then from the back, it'll be easier to see when I whip my zip tie out. And I'm just going to pull it back, and I'm going to try to tie it to row 3, because just like row 1, row 4 is going to be against the wall. So I like to tie it to either rows 2 or 3. And then this part right here, I'm just going to twist it back. And that's it. You have a nice smooth backing on here. And this is what the wreath looks like from the back. This wreath is so pretty as it is. That we're going to be using is a 21-inch Deco Mesh. I got this one at Walmart. This one is 21 by 10 yards. The wreath form we'll be using is a metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and this one is 14 inches. For this wreath, we will be using the 18 pipe cleaner system. Each section is going to get 3 pipe cleaners. There are 6 sections in this wreath form. So the first one I'm going to put on row 1 and 2. Give it 2 nice twists, and I'm going to fold it inside. The second 2 are going to go on row 3 and 4. and I'm going to twist it in place and lay it down to the outside. Our second one, 2 twists, and we're going to lay it down. And then I'm just going to go around the whole wreath form and doing 3 pipe cleaners per section, 1 on rows 1 and 2, and 2 to the sides of it on rows 3 and 4. Now let's do everyone's favorite part, which is math. I always want to make sure that you are not left with not enough Deco Mesh and that we have a wreath that's full and beautiful. Our Deco Mesh is 21 inches in width and 10 yards in length. 10 yards converted to inches, so it's easier for us, is 360. For this wreath, we are going to need 26 pieces, so we're going to take 360 and divide it by the 26 pieces. That's going to give us 13.84, which means we're going to cut our Deco Mesh into anywhere from 13 to 13 and a half inches in length. I know I always go over math, but that is really, really important when it comes to making sure that we are not stuck with not enough mesh. You can't see my numbers, but my 13 inches is right here on the outside edge of my second dark square. So I'm going to go about a little bit over, and I'm going to cut it at 13 and a half. And now I'm just going to roll it really gently and put it to the side. Now it's time to bring this wreath together. I'm going to just tighten the curl up a little bit because it naturally wants to curl up. And I'm going to take 5 inches on the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the inside and then I'm going to do the outside row. You can go from outside to the inside. It is up to you. So all I'm doing is 5 inches in. I'm going to do 2 beautiful twists, and then we got 5 inches on the other side, and then I'm going to do just 1 twist on this side. Grabbing the next roll, roll it in a little bit tighter, 5 inches, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this one up, or you can just put it right on top, and I'm going to give it a nice 2 twists. And then 5 inches on the other side. We're going to go to the next pipe cleaner. And just 1 twist because I'm going to attach here. So basically for this method, you just go from one to another, 5 inches on each side. And then this inside right here, this is where the poof comes from. I'm going to unroll this and make a little poof. And I'm going to go on top. If you're working with big thick pipe cleaners, I would definitely just undo it and add it on. These are just so thin that yeah, I'm just doing a twist and then right over. I wanted to mention something. If you are working with a Deco Mesh that is, for example, green on one side, red on the other side, then make sure that when you're putting these together and crisscrossing them right here, that you put, you know, one end on this side or one color and then the other side color goes here, so that you're going to have a nice balanced wreath. As far as the poofs are concerned, you can either do it 1 row at a time or you can do it as you go along. I tend to just finish the row off and then come back and poof everything out. That is solely up to you. Now let's start on the second row. Same thing, I'm going to curl it just like I have been doing. Measure my 5 inches. This next row we're going to put on top of this one, but I'm going to try to put it to the side. Also, my tails have been facing out. This time I'm going to have them face in. So start with your tail this way. And then same thing, get your 5 inches on the other side. And bring the poof towards the inside. So we're going to have like 2 poofs in the same spot. At this point, we're overlapping right here. Look at this. I'm smiling on this side of the camera because look how full this is. And we didn't even start on the outside row. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hide these. So unless you want to do some attachments here, you can definitely hide these. And I'm not going to be attaching anything except our sign and a bow on top. So for now, I'm just going to twist, twist, twist. About 1 inch from our actual poof, I'm going to cut. Then I'm going to fold this little tail in half and I'm going to bend it back. Same thing, I'm twisting my pipe cleaners about 1 inch from our Deco Mesh. I'm going to cut it, fold it in half, and fold it back. Then I'm just going to poof this out and it disappears. I'm going to go ahead and do this to the pipe cleaners on the inside row. Now that my beautiful first row is all done, it's time to move on to the outside row. And look how easy it is to see all my pipe cleaners on the outside row. That is why I love working from the inside out. But as I said, you can definitely work outside in. I wanted to show you something. When you're cutting your first pieces from the Deco Mesh roll, they're kind of, you know, they don't roll as much as the ones that are closer to the inside of the actual roll. So sometimes what you want to do is you want to roll this. Then I'm just going to kind of hold it and grab my 5 inches and just clip it. And then the 5 inches on this side, I'm going to grab and attach. And then here, nothing unrolled. I'm just grabbing my 5 inches, attaching it to the next pipe cleaner. So same thing, we're just going to do 1 twist and then get our second one ready. There you go, 5 inches in. I'm going to clip it. And then I got my 5 inches on this side, attach it to the last one. And then here, I know that this is going to be the last time I'm using this row. So I'm actually going to just do that twist thing where I twist, cut, and hide that pipe cleaner behind. And of course, we're going to go ahead and open up our poof areas. Let me know what you think of this method because I think it is a full, beautiful method. We have the curls, we have the puffs. It is so nice. And look how gorgeous this wreath is by itself. I mean, we're doing the green because of the watermelon theme, but if you have a colorful Deco Mesh, at this point, you can really be done with it. Just poof things out and just set the little tails where you want them, or the little curls, I guess, and that's it. Wreath, I'm going to be using this gorgeous Easter Deco Mesh from Hobby Lobby. Originally $11.99, with 40% off, it comes down to $7.19. Since you can make 2 of the wreaths I'm making today with this 1 roll, it comes down to $3.60 for this wreath for Deco Mesh. The wreath form we're going to be using is the Dollar Tree 14-inch metal wreath form, and you're going to need 12 pipe cleaners. For this wreath, you're going to need 6 strips that are 30 inches long. So they're going to be 21 by 30 inches long. I'm going to be using my regular mat, and as you can see, I put it vertically. I'm going to move it to the side, and I'm going to add a 12-inch ruler. Counting for this 1/2 inch underneath here, I'm going to just move the ruler to where it says 1 centimeter, and that'll give me the exact amount for 30 inches. I decided to use this silver color because the Deco Mesh has a lot of silver in it. Now for the pipe cleaners, I'm just going to put 1 between the first and the second row, give it 2 twists, and I'm going to fold it inside. And then 1 between the 3rd and 4th row, 2 twists, and fold it to the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and do that all around. So you're going to have 6 on the inside and 6 on the outside. The way we're going to be attaching our poof ruffles are like this. Inside to the next section outside. Inside, outside, inside, outside, and so on. Here we go. You can start on either side. I like to start on this side, and you want about 1/4 in. So that'll make it about 5 inches. And I like using striped Deco Mesh for this because you can actually see where you're going. So with this one, I'm basically going to be going right here between the pink and the green, and I'm going to just gather. And if you face your actual strip down, then the endings are going to curl in right there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch this ruffle using whatever you have, but I'm just going to pinch it like this. And then I'm going to move on to the second side. And same thing, we're going to go 5 inches in. And in my case, between the pink and the green, and off we go. So it's kind of like ruffle, poof, and then ruffle method. Now that I gathered, I want to make sure my endings are kind of curling in, and you've got this candy looking thing right here. So if I'm going to start on the inside, there you go. Going to make 2 tight twists, 1, 2. Then I'm going to take this end, and I'm going to go to the next section on the outside, and 2 twists, 1, 2. I'm going to open this up a little bit. Now the next poof, same thing. And the end, let's just make sure that it curls down on both sides. Inside, outside, and then we're going to go on the inside right here. And then outside right here. And I'm just going to continue going inside, outside, all the way around. And I'm about to do the last loop right here. And then in the back, I'm just grabbing the pipe cleaners and making sure they're just nice and secure. 2 more twists, folding them in half and then half again, and then just pushing the pipe cleaners back, and you have a nice smooth backing. I'm just going to go around and poof everything out. Now that my wreath base is done, you can add on decoration. Going to be using 2 of these rolls of 21-inch Deco Mesh. I got these at Joann's. They are 21 by 30 feet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 10-inch strips, 18 of each. I'm also going to be using a 14-inch metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree. And of course, I picked a beige color to match my lighter color, so it's going to have a little bit of a flawless look. Here, I'm just cutting my 21-inch Deco Mesh into 10-inch strips. Let's attach our pipe cleaners to our wreath form. Our wreath form is 14 inches, as I said, and this wreath form has 6 sections. In each section, we're going to put 3 pipe cleaners. So what I do is we're going to put 1 pipe cleaner on row 1 and 2. The next pipe cleaner I'm going to put on row 3 and 4 and just twist it in the middle. This is what it's going to look like, just 1 section. And I'm going to just repeat the process going all the way around. Now that our wreath form is ready, I'm just going to move it a little bit to the side so we can get going with our little ribbons. I'm just going to grab one of my strips and start rolling it, kind of like when we do the curly method. And just make a little tube, hold at the ends, and bring it together in half. Then I'm going to just grab it on a halfway mark, and I'm going to clamp it. This type of method is also called awareness method because of this. It looks like an awareness ribbon. And then I'm going to grab my second one. Same thing, we're just going to make a little tube here, make it a little curl. And I don't keep it too tight, but tight enough. Then we're going to fold it in half. After folding it in half, I'm going to pinch it in the center. Then I'm going to grab my other ribbon and I'm going to make one of them go upside down. And so one is just going to go on top of the other, just like this. So we have two tails right here and two tails right here. And I'm just going to put it straight in the center of my pipe cleaner, just like that. Since I have the ivory on top, I'm going to grab another one, and then the ivory is going to go on the bottom and then the brown on top. And I'm going to just go every other. I'm going to make this way, and every other I'm going to invert it, and they're going to go every other. This method does go kind of quick because you just roll and put it in place. I'm going to fold it, and now my brown one's going to go on top, and then this ivory is going to go in the bottom. I'm going to flatten in the center. When I'm putting my ribbon on, I also make sure that if the brown head is over here, the tails are going to be over here. And of course, if the light head is going to be over here, the tails are going to be here. So at the end, it kind of just evens out, and it's going to be a beautiful flow. Two tight twists here. I know it looks sparse right now, but don't forget, we still have two of them that are going to go over here, and it's going to push it up. For this wreath, I like to do the inside, then the outside. You can also do outside to the inside. But what I do not do is per section, because then it'll get confusing for you as far as, okay, what's on top, what's at the bottom. But this way, you're like every other, and as you go along, it'll all even out. Because we have even numbers of pipe cleaners on the inside and the outside, it's going to go nicely, and you know you're going to have every other as you finish off your circle. I know it's looking sparse so far, but I'm going to go ahead, finish off this inner circle, and I'll be right back. This is what the wreath looks so far, and I know it's not much, but when we're done, it's going to look good. So now I'm just going to put it to the side once again, and I'm going to start working on all the pipe cleaners on the outside. And it doesn't matter which one you start with, just start and go every other, just like we did in the center row. When choosing Deco Mesh for this wreath method, I like to choose a light and a dark color, or colors that just contrast each other really nicely. That way it's just such a beautiful transition, and you see a pop of ivory, then a pop of brown, and it plays so nicely, and at the end you're going to have such a beautiful wreath. Now I'm going to just continue making all the little ribbons going all the way around, and I'll be right back. I'm about to make my last little combo right here. And as you can see, my supervisor's right there watching my every move. So we have one going this way, the other one's going to go that way. And let's see here. If my tails are ending right here, then my loop needs to be here, and then loop and tails. And I'm just going to kind of fit it in between and tie it in. Did I do a good job, Leo? What do you think? Just staring at me. Nice and full. I love the contrast in this wreath. So very pretty. And that's it. This wreath is ready for the fashionista in your life. What do you think? I think it turned out absolutely adorable. Start off with this Deco Mesh that I got at BB Crafts. It's 21 inches. It's red and green with some green foil and red foil strips in between. Very beautiful mesh. Pipe cleaners from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need 18 of these for the wreath form and 2 more to attach the sign. The first thing I'm going to do is prepare my wreath form. My wreath form is a metal wreath form that's 14 inches, and it has 6 sections. And it also has 4 rows. I always count from inside going out. In each of the sections, we're going to put a pipe cleaner on rows 1 and 2. And I'm going to put it right in the middle and give it 2 twists and fold it towards the inside of the wreath form. Then I'm going to go to the 3rd and 4th row, and I'm going to do 2 pipe cleaners there I'm going to twist these twice just like we did, and then I'm going to fold them going out. And then I'm going to repeat the same process going all the way around. So just one pipe cleaner right here on row 1 and 2, 2 pipe cleaners on rows 3 and 4 to the sides of my center one. I absolutely love this Deco Mesh. And I'm going to cut my Deco Mesh into 10-inch strips. You are going to need 36 strips. So if you're going to do this method using 2 colors, you're going to need 18 of each color, or 36 if you're just using 1 roll that's 21 inches by 10 yards. As you're cutting your Deco Mesh, you want to store it somewhere safe. I usually have a laundry basket next to my table, and I just store them all in the laundry basket until they're ready to be used. We are ready to get started with the Jackie weave. All I'm doing here is I'm taking one of my strips and I'm rolling them very lightly. I don't need to make it tight or anything. And then I just kind of gather it in the middle, bring it together, and I make sure that the ending, the part that's going to fray, is on the inside. Then I find my middle, and then I'm going to attach it to my pipe cleaner. You could do it from the outside or from the inside. It really doesn't matter where you start. So there you go. There is my first little Jackie weave, and the tail should be about 5 inches, and so should the top. I'm grabbing my second piece of Deco Mesh, and I'm just rolling it. And now I'm going to feed this one through the loop right here. And here is the weaving part of it. And then measure about 5 inches for the tail. And then you're going to attach the tail to the next pipe cleaner. So this is what we have so far. These two are interlocking and we have tails on the sides. I've got my next pipe cleaner. Same thing, I'm going to fold it in half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tail to tail. Going to put it right on top of the tail that we just finished here. And we are going to lock it in. And since we did tail to tail, now we're going to do loop to loop. Here we go. Now we're going to feed it through. After we fed it through, get your 5 inches for the tail and attach it to the next pipe cleaner. I have my next piece right here, and I'm just going to do tail to tail. And so now going around, I'm going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to do tail to tail, then loop to loop, and just keep on going all the way around. And here is my last loop and my last tail, and I'm just going to put one on top of the other, and we are done with the first row. Look how full this wreath is. This is just rows 2 and 3, those 6 pipe cleaners that we did. This is just the center. Now we're going to go to the pipe cleaners on row 3 and 4, and we're going to do the same thing. Just start weaving our pieces of Deco Mesh, roll them up, fold them in half, and off I go doing the same thing and just weaving it. Here I'm doing tail to tail, so I just put it right on top, and now I'm just going to do loop to loop. I'm all done with this wreath, and look how full this is. The center is tiny, which means this really filled in nicely. Look at my hand, how tiny my hand looks comparing to this huge wreath. And this is just one roll of 21 inch by 10 yards Deco Mesh. I think this is absolutely stunning. What did you think of these 7 21-inch Deco Mesh techniques? Let me know which one you would love to try that you haven't tried before, or maybe which one you just love using yourself. I love chatting with you guys in the comments. If you are still in a wreath making mood, don't forget to click one of these videos that I prepared for you. And if you're not subscribed to this channel and would love to see more wreath making videos, definitely hit the subscribe, the bell, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye, my sweet friends. Mwah!